Hi, this is Barbara. I'm the director at Blue Dog Dance, and I am going to tell you about our program for middle schoolers, and it's called In Motion. So, In Motion is a program here at Blue Dog Dance. It's actually been about 4 or 5 years, maybe four, and it's hard with COVID time. It's hard to remember. And it's a great program, but it is a program that's hard to really know about. So, I want to make sure for those of you maybe interested or want to know more about it that you can hear a little bit more about it. So, this is a time I'm going to go over the program, and I thought I was going to do this live, so I said answer any questions you have, but I did do typically what the questions are, so I'll have some questions and answers for you at the end. And here is a fun group that was here a couple years ago, so that's a fun picture for me to look at. I'm going to explain to you why we do In Motion, what the program is like overall, performing group and how it works, because performing group is a part of In Motion. In Motion is the like kind of a broader umbrella program for the middle schoolers, but the performing group is a part of that. That's very important. I'll talk to you about the time commitment, the financial requirements, and then I do have a couple typical questions that we'll go over at the end. All right, so what is In Motion? So this is a program for middle schoolers, which for us is 6th to 8th grade. Then it is a dance performance intensive. So it's a program that develops their dancing and their performance together. It is here at Blue Dog Dance on Sundays from 2 to 5:15. We started this program to develop during this middle school time dancers in their technique and performance so we can work on both of it together. And we wanted to do it in a schedule that allows them to focus on their school and other activities. So especially in that transition from 5th grade to 6th grade, we wanted to make sure that they could still also commit more to dance and get more serious about dance, but maybe still allow them to have time during the week to focus on school or if they're in a different activity. So that is how we came up with this program, and it's been pretty successful for us, and I'm beyond excited for next year. This year's been great, but it's been so fun to come out of kind of a lack of performance opportunities, quite frankly, and woo, so looking forward to what's coming up. This is a typical schedule on Sunday. So they have 3 classes and a 15-minute break, and they're separated into 3 groups. So one group is in Studio A, and then B, and then C, and they might start with the performing group class, then go to a jazz class, then go to like their ballet bar stretch and conditioning class, right? And then each month the order changes. So they might start with a performing group class, in January, but then in February they'll switch and they'll start with their jazz class. That's just to keep things fresh and to make it for the teachers that like their last class of the day isn't the same for all the groups, and also because they do warm up in their first class, but then typically they're already warm for the other ones that they're not always need to do the warm up in their first class. So we do alternate each month, the order of the classes. Jazz is like a typical jazz class that you would see at Blue Dog Dance. It's just a regular weekly jazz class and performs in the recital and all of that. The ballet bar is a non-recital class. It's working on their flexibility, their strength, and technique, and specifically applying technique to their dance skills. And the performing group class is a rehearsal time to learn choreography, and it can be kind of in a variety of styles. It just depends on the teacher and whatever, we're doing. So within the structure of that program, those are the 3 classes that they do. I did want to add a note that in years past, typically the cohorts go by grade. But sometimes if there's like a super large group, then that grade will have to be split. I know a couple years ago, I think we had like a lot of 8th graders. So the 8th graders were split, and then we had like 6th and 7th graders, if I remember correctly. So this is typically how it's split, but I'm not saying 100% it'll be split by grade. It just depends on how many kids apply. All right. So just a quick preview of those classes, and this is a new class arrangement for this coming year in 2022-23. And it is a reaction to what we've witnessed in a good way, and that is that now in the high school company, we are seeing the kids that have come up through In Motion, and they're really good. So we want more of that. So we're changing it around a little bit, And we're taking out the lyrical class and adding in the jazz class. So because we want their jazz technique to be more similar than in years past. So they're still going to have their performing group, and that's the same. Except for this year, we're going to be learning it quicker and more dances. So it's going to be really more of a fast-paced type learning in their performing group class. Then they take their jazz class, which is a regular jazz class with a lot of across the floor and choreography. And then they will have a ballet bar with conditioning and stretching. And that's designed to take certain basic dance skills and apply it. For example, there's a tour jeté and one of the jazz dances this year. So we could be like, okay, here's some stuff at the ballet bar, and then like let's go ahead and apply that to your tour jeté so that we can really kind of get that transition going. And then they'll also be working on core strength and then overall flexibility. The ballet bar is not a substitute for taking a ballet class. So if you are wanting to also take ballet, I strongly recommend you take a ballet class during the week at the studio. So this is not meant to substitute for a ballet class. This is like a fundamental bar, stretch, and flexibility class that hopefully they will see the benefits of. Then one of those classes is performing group, right? So in motion is what we call the whole program on Sundays. And then performing group is one of those classes. And that is like a team within Blue Dog that learns dances and performs at numerous events throughout the year. And it allows dancers to perform more than just recital with the community. So the idea behind this when we started performing group like over 10 years ago is a space for people that want to learn to dance, right? The dancers that not only want to learn to dance, but they want to perform a lot. Of course, that's what dancing is. So that is what this group is all about. All right, so when it comes to performing group, here are next year's the main people to know. Me, I'm over here. And while you'll see me around and I definitely pipe in and I show up, my main role is to see how In Motion and performing group within In Motion fits into the broader idea of Blue Dog Dance. So I definitely help with the programming and how everything flows together. And I advise on how to, which events to do and stuff like that. But my main role is kind of looking at how it all fits into Blue Dog. The two directors of the performing group are Kyra, and she is going to be communications director. So she's the one that manages the performance schedule and communicates with the venues that we're going to and with the parents and students what is going on. So that is Kyra's role within performing group. And then Willow is going to be the artistic director. So she's the lead choreographer and instructor. Willow and Kyra do work in tandem. So that means that maybe Kyra will choose to teach a dance, or maybe she'll be teaching one day. Maybe you'll get an email from Willow, but their main roles, that's their main division, and they're taking on performing groups together. So you will see Willow in class typically on Sundays, and Kyra also there on Sundays to work on the communications part. All right, so that's how it is going to be set up. Their performances, so we perform in Blue Dog shows. So our internal shows that are important for performing group are they have their own showcase, so performing group showcase in early winter. The gala is they are invited to perform at the high schools, the Royal Blue Dance Company, that's the program for the high schoolers. Their show is in spring, so they will perform in that spring show. And then of course our Blue Dog recital in June. Then we have community events. Retirement homes, hopefully those can happen again. That's just throughout the year whenever we can get it. There's things like the state fair that happens in September and April now, so that's exciting. And we just go to that. That's down at Puyallup, and it's fun. And then any other community fairs or events that happen throughout the year that work in our schedule and we can get into, we do it, because the more, the better. Then there's also dance events, and those things mean competitions. Those will start in 2023, somewhere between January and May. It just depends on which ones we go to. The convention, so there I know there's one in the fall, and we'll see what else kind of comes up there. And invitational. We've been invited to a couple of things in years past when there's been more performances, things like Dancerpalooza, or sometimes there'll be like a greater Seattle area dance event, and we'll be invited. So if that works for us, we go. And then I just say, and whatever else comes our way. Sometimes we get asked to perform for different things, and yeah, let's go do it. All right. We do competition. We say one for fun and then we're done. So there's lots of pros to doing competition. It's a great motivator for the kids. They have a good bonding experience together. They get to see other dancers and what they're doing. It's just exciting in general. It's really exciting. There are some cons for competing, and most for me here at Blue Dog is just that dance is a performing art. So when we get too into the competitive aspect of it, I think it kind of takes away from what dance is out in the professional world. In the professional world, it is not a competing event. So you're right in the sense of it doesn't necessarily translate into what you see in dance professionally or in the collegiate level. That's not necessarily how it is. So, and it just can get a little bit, I just want to say, I want to say out of whack. That's the word that came to my mind. But it can be, right? People can get carried away with it. And it's good and it's fun and it should be motivating and we should be competitive and we should have pride in what we do. But we also need to balance, all the other things all in our lives, right? So it's a great team experience though for the dancers. So we definitely do one for fun and then we're done. That being said, we did do 2 competitions this past year and I think it's nice to be able to compete and then learn from that experience and get to do it one more time. So we will most definitely do 1 competition in this coming year and perhaps we will make a second competition open for those that want to get the chance to kind of go back and do it again. So we do a competition, but it is not our main focus. So just keep that in mind. Then what is the time commitment? So you'll have your Sunday classes, mandatory performances. So mandatory performances would be the gala, the performing group, the competition, and recital. And what we mean by mandatory is in the fall when we come out with all of our dates and you're looking at your calendar and you're like, yes, we can be there, then we're assuming that you are going to be there. If you know in advance that some dates aren't going to work out, that's fine. As long as we know in advance when learning the dances, right? We do formations and all of that. So finding out, 2 or 3 weeks before that you're not going to be at one of those events is rough. So that's what we mean by mandatory. If you can't make it because you have a conflict in advance, that's fine. But once you've kind of we've assumed that you're going to be there, then you're going to be there. Then we have customary performances. Those are the retirement homes, the fair performances, any of those. Now, I guess it is optional, but I want to say customary because the idea is that we are in this because you want to perform more and you want to get out there and dance and be on stage or be performing in a retirement home and just taking up any opportunity you can to dance. So the idea is that if you're available, you're making your best effort to be there. Not like so much optional as like, yeah, maybe not. Like, nope, they're customary. Like, this is where we go. That being said, we all have lots of going on in our lives. Sometimes we don't find out these opportunities until last minute, so people can't come, right? So you don't have to stress if you can't make those opportunities, but just know that if you're going to be joining in motion, you are also saying, like, if these opportunities come up, you will make your efforts to be there. We have our summer intensive, which is August 22nd to 26th. That is optional as well, but we will be learning a dance that they will do throughout the year. So if you want to be in that dance, then there is a dance that's learned in summer intensive. So I want to make sure you know that. So that's an optional thing. And then there's other opt-in performances. So if you want to do a solo, for example, that is something that you would obviously take more time. I don't like this current year, we're doing the Disneyland trip, right? So that's something you opt into and that takes more time. So a lot of the other time commitment things would be things that you're going to opt into separately. Your financial requirements are the monthly tuition of $197. One competition is $70. We're getting sweatshirts this year, so we expect those to be about $40. We want you to plan on buying stage makeup around $40. So we don't exactly know what that means just yet, but I want to make sure that you have that in your mind that you will be purchasing something for stage makeup. And then attire as needed. They will need leotard, tights, ballet shoes, and jazz shoes. And then, of course, they can wear other things in their classes, but that is their baseline attire of what they will need. So you might have all that already and it's so great. And if not, you might have to buy something. So that's just what you will need to buy as needed. If you choose to go to the convention, it's approximately $200. We're right now talking with having a guest teacher come in and either do a master class or actually set a dance, like an outside choreographer come in, which is exciting. We expect that to be approximately $150. And then summer intensive, if we choose to do that, is $325. The other things for you to keep in mind financially would be things like tickets to the shows, right? So we do a performing group showcase and we rent a theater for that. So you'll have, you'll have to buy a ticket to come to see that. The gala, when we come and dance with our high school company, right? They put on a show. Well, hopefully you'll purchase the ticket to come and watch that. So that's kind of the main other. I'm sure there's something else that I'm not thinking of right now, but that's the main other when we think of expenses. They'll have the opportunity to get other gear, like if they want a different type of jacket or something might come up like that, but those would be optional things that might come up along the way and they can opt into getting one of those. All right, other things to know is we use the Band app for communication. We're getting better at that. So now that we're learning more that it can do, we're definitely committing to that again next year. And our group is called Blue Dog Dance Performing Group. We will be doing a photo shoot early in the year, just so we have photos that help us promote things throughout the year. So keep that in mind. And then also just another reminder in case I forgot to talk about it, the solos. So the solos will do solo camp in the summer, and you will get information about that when we announce the groups if your dancer wants to do a solo. So that's a separate opt-in opportunity, but it is only for performing group members. So that is how that will work this year. Okay, so I wrote just off the top of my head some little things that they will grow. Dance skills. I mean, this was our number one idea of growing their dance skills in middle school. So that's how this originally started. They will definitely grow in their dance skills. Resiliency, just the idea of just Sundays alone, coming every Sunday builds resiliency. Plus learning things, and maybe it not being your strength right at the beginning, but doing it again, working together. There's definitely a lot of resiliency in dance and performance. Teamwork, working together, using each other's strengths, kind of acknowledging each other's strengths to kind of work together towards these goals of these dances. Community, hopefully that gets realized a little bit more this coming year when we go into our performing group homes, when we go out to the fairs, when we get to dance beyond just Blue Dog and we get to go out in the community and use dance to connect with people, right? Because that's the main purpose, or at least a huge priority for me at Blue Dog. Leadership, so the people in performing group and in motion, they are going to be the leaders here at Blue Dog. They have opportunities to be leaders within their classes at In Motion, and they will definitely, it's fun to see them rise to that. They build friendships in their groups. They build confidence as they just get more and more practice. Performance takes a bunch of bravery, right, to go out there and perform, and the more practice they do, just the more confidence they get in themselves. And then something that I think is really important is identity. I think regardless of the activity, but when we start to say and commit to these things, it becomes a part of our identity, right? Like I'm a dancer and I'm an in motion dancer. These things help build us, and it helps make us more authentic with ourselves, right? Because we have this idea of who we are. So I think that programs like this, like In Motion specifically, and I would even say all of the performing group, In Motion, and our Royals really help because they get to add a little piece of identity for kids as they're growing up. And I think that just really helps them ground themselves and know who they are. And I think that's important. All right, next up is what are typically common questions? How do they eat during break? However they want. They can bring food or they can bring money, and they can go, typically they all go to the gas station and get whatever. They can go to Subway, they can go to the coffee stand, whatever they want to do during their break. But I will say that while the teachers are here at Blue Dog, we do not chaperone. We do not walk out into the parking lot to go get whatever with them. So if you are giving them money and telling them that they can go get something, we are taking them at their word, and that is up to you. And they can do whatever they want. It can be different every time, and that doesn't matter to us. The groups will be announced on June 1st. So that's when we plan to announce the groups, which kind of leads to why are we doing applying instead of auditioning. So this is our first year doing applications instead of auditioning. And we are inclusive performing groups here at Blue Dog Dance, meaning if you audition or if you apply, you are in. And in this middle school group, we just kind of wanted to give them an opportunity to take more ownership of their commitment to what they're doing. So by taking the time to fill out an application and really check off like, yes, I am willing to commit to, these virtues. And I am also have the bravery to ask another teacher to recommend me for this program. Um, that is the quality and that is the person that we want in our program for In Motion. So we just decided to go ahead and try that this year. And so far we've gotten some back, and I think that this is probably going to stick for us because of what it is doing in the sense of recognition for the students that they are taking on the commitment for themselves. Um, and now performing group, this will start, we'll think of it as starting July 1st and then ending June 30th. So we'll announce June 1st. Think of it as starting, like officially starting on July 1st will be when the new performing group kind of takes over. And then we will end on June 30th. That will be our season. Okay, I think, so if you are going to do it, which is exciting, and there will be a mandatory dancer parent meeting on our first day of class, which is September 11th. So that first hour is actually going to be a parent and dancer meeting, and we are going to go over all of the dates for the coming year. The dancers will stay until 5:15, so they will stay and dance. But during that first hour is when we'll go over the calendar for the year, attire, things like that. All of the actual nuts and bolts, because this is giving you like the heads up of what's going to happen, but that will be the date that we actually come out with everything. All right. And if you have any questions, info@bluedogdance.com. You can ask me, Kyra, Willow. We want to answer whatever questions you have for us. And thanks for watching.